What song is that?
Right, well, we're going.
Twist and shout. Twist and shout. Are we ready?
We're on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And good morning.
Good morning, Sunday morning.
Sunday, Sunday, so good to me. Actually, one of my favorite songs is Sunday Morning Coming Down from Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
The smell of the Sunday smell of someone frying chicken. That's some good words written by Chris Christopherson there.
Yeah, he's one of the greats. He wrote Bobby McGee. He's pretty much Hall of Fame just off that.
Yeah, I didn't know you wrote Bobby McGee. Bobby McGee. Yeah, I'll have to listen to him singing that. I know that the story of him flying into Johnny Cash's backyard and handing him the recording of.
Johnny wasn't there, but he had to hand it. He handed it to one of the people there, but just the fact that he landed a helicopter, he listened to it.
Landed a helicopter in his backyard, and then he gave him the Sunday Morning Coming Down. And then Johnny Cash, he did do it at that point.
Yeah.
If you're willing to hire a helicopter or rent a helicopter, he rented it, right?
Yeah, he was. I think he flew helicopters in the service. I'm pretty sure he was in the Army or something, or Air Force.
Yeah, I've heard he did that, and flew the helicopter into his house, and dropped off the recording or the song itself. And of course, it expands from there. You hear he did that, and then you hear, oh well, he actually was at war with Johnny Cash, and then helicopter landed in the backyard, and they all jumped out, and paratroopers stormed the house. And I'm kidding, but you never know. By the way, was it you that came over and mowed my yard yesterday?
No, I believe it was.
You did. You did. Don't give me that crap.
I believe it was Kevin Rhodes' sister.
It was not. What?
Oh, did you talk to her?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
She might not be telling you. She might want to keep it a secret, but she was pretty obvious about wanting to do it. So that seems weird.
She told me she did. I said I wanted to. I said, I'm like, well, I have it on standing orders from the neighbor. When he mows his yard, he mows mine.
Well, it was probably him.
No, he wasn't. Wasn't him either. So, you didn't do it.
No, it wasn't me. I got neighbor kid
a couple times. So
yeah, the neighbor kid came and mowed mine. He does it pretty much every Saturday. He just takes his mower down the street and gets a bunch of jobs that way.
Yeah. Oh, my neighbor next door, the boy next door, when he does his, he mows mine. So it's like, mine lasts for about as long as his does. So I don't worry about it too much. But either way, I thought for certain you may have mowed my yard. I'm like, geez. But I'm like, the thing is, I bought a lawnmower. I bought 3 brand new lawnmowers. They all died. Every year I'd buy a new one. And then it's like, that cost me $300 a pop.
Wow.
Basically. I didn't have to do all the gas maintenance and so forth. But my only strip of yard I have is right front here. So it's like a 20 by 20 or something, maybe not 20 by 10,
Yeah.
And so I pay the neighbor like $7. It takes him 5 minutes. Zip.
Yeah. This guy takes about 5 minutes. Give him $10. Well, here's a little story about the Cash thing. Right here's them together. They were in the Outlaws, I guess. But Christopherson took part-time work with the National Guard to help pay bills. That's how he got the helicopter. But he was working as a janitor at the offices of Columbia Records, where Cash was, and Cash wouldn't listen to his stuff. So he was on a flight. He had a flight plan, but he deviated from it and went over. He was on a training run and landed it in Cash's property. And then what happens next depends on who you ask. According to Cash, Christopherson came sauntering out of the helicopter with a beer in one hand and his demos in the other, demanding to be heard. But Christopherson paints a more subdued picture. He said, John had a very creative imagination. I've never flown with a beer in my life. Believe me, you need 2 hands to fly these things. But he says he did get there. He says he doesn't remember Cash even being at the house. he still think he was lucky that he didn't get shot. So, but he got it there. And then, yeah, he listened to him and it was great. So it became a hit, a number one hit.
That's pretty cool. That's, I'm telling you now, folks, if you land a helicopter in my backyard, I will listen to your demo. I won't shoot you. I'll listen to your demo. I think.
Yeah, I think a lesson learned there too is have a good thing though, because you may get to the guy, and then if you have a piece of crap song, it's not going to work.
Right. Right. Well, I think that it all figures out on how you can get to somebody.
Yeah.
But right now, we're looking to rent the helicopter to go visit Brad Pitt. We'll figure that out. We'll figure out what our helicopter is.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't fly helicopters. I don't think I can.
Well, we'll get our little our stuff together. Like if say you meet a guy and then you have a script idea and it's well written and put together, and they get it, because you might only get 30 seconds with some of these people.
Yep, that's your 30-second elevator pitch, elevator pitch. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Knowles, and bam, or that's how it always is. You have to be able to say the purpose of your call and what you're trying to accomplish that quick, and you got to get them on board. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
for most people, but if you grab their attention with something in particular, as far as something that they like, in other words, you bring in the word childhood cancer, whatever it is in particular that is going to make them want to grab them. I'm not 6 foot tall and blonde hair and blue eyes and big boobs or anything like that, so I don't have that much of an attention stopper, showstopper, by my looks.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes and you're mine. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of those guys, that's about all you get. It took me a long time, like over a month one time in like 88, to get this meeting with the head of Fox programming. Fox was new, and I didn't even know if Fox was going to be a real network, but it was hard to get the meeting. But the guy said, you got 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes. Go for it. Yeah.
We didn't grab him, but he even said, get something going when you're in a meeting and you got to grab the guy, and it's going to be one little thing. And if the guy likes it, but
yeah,
it's hard, but it's fun. It's fun to try because
well, I've been in sales and so forth, so I know what it takes to do that. And I grabbed the guy before, shook him a little bit. You buy my shit, man. Pulled the switchblade. By the way, so did I tell you I was watching the movie yesterday? I was watching The Guide to Recognizing Your Saints.
Oh, you told me about that. What's that all about?
Well, it's not Johnny Depp, remember that. Robert Downey Jr. returning back to his New Jersey his place at home at New Jersey home was like it's got a ton of good actors in it. I mean, but it was the hard streets and where all his friends are 30 years later, 20 years later. It's a good show.
New movie?
No, it's probably 19.
Wow.
Let's see here. I'd say 91.
Wow, that's an old one.
Yeah, I know. Although I do feel like 91 isn't that old. I know I graduated in 91. I'm like, well, no, it's not that old. I'm not that old. It's here. I'm gonna find out when exactly it was. It's just an idea. Yeah, I got it. As you were saying, it is.
What was the movie?
2006. 2006, huh?
Oh, 2006. Okay.
Yeah, it's a guide to recognizing your saints. But the cast is pretty much phenomenal. It's Robert Downey Jr., Shia LaBeouf, Channing Tatum, Diane Wiest,
wow,
Rosario Dawson, Chaz Palminteri,
Palminteri, yeah, he's
Palminteri, yeah. Yeah, Melanie Diaz, yeah. Martin Cope. Oh,
Martin.
this is who I didn't remember. I've never seen it before, but Eric Roberts.
Oh, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, well, I like Eric Roberts, but the weird thing about who it is that these people play their other. So Robert Downey Jr. is playing Shia LaBeouf 20 years later.
Oh, really?
It's not. They don't have the best. I don't think they did a great job as far as what I don't know, trying to line them up as far as people go, as their looks. They don't look the same.
That's a tough one. Yeah, they don't look the same. Shia LaBeouf's got some extreme intensity in his face. Robert Downey Jr. is awesome. They're both great, but
They're both great. But I think that's the only problem I had with that was the people that I mean, Eric Roberts is Channing Tatum 20 years later.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a tough one. But I mean, it definitely. And then even Rosario Dawson, she played this. She played Melanie Diaz apparently, 20 years later. So there's they all look a little different, you know what I mean? But either way, I did not figure out what the term, the guide to recognizing your saints. I didn't get that until probably last night, way after I watched the movie.
What does that mean? I don't really know.
Well, a guide to recognizing your saints. Basically, I think that it has to do with you never know who's actually going to be the one who helps you in life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
that's really good.
Your saints, because the way this whole thing comes about, it's a weird storyline. It's a very, very weird storyline, and since it's so old, I'll tell you basically, it's like Shia LaBeouf did not believe that his father had loved him, as a kid, and he left. He left the area. He just left the family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then even Channing Tatum was. It's funny because when you see him in the movie, I would say he's basically the Matt Dillon of The Outsiders.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, we all had somebody like that in our neighborhood or friends with. It was just a big buff dude who really was not buff, but pretty buff, who was kind of like beat on at home. Probably like his dad had been beating him or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was, people didn't really. As a kid, I really can't tell you how many of my friends got taken away from their parents. Jeez. I would tell you not very many. And no. I will tell you, I remember some of the kids I grew up with were beaten, and their parents beat them just treat them like shit, Oh
yeah.
I mean, it was like, not just, I had a friend of mine who looked like Channing Tatum in the movie, just buff, and he was quite the boxer and stuff. Early on he got into boxing, and he was just a great boxer, but he had some serious issues. I think his family beat him. It's pretty certain that dad beat him. It was not good, and he was a nice enough kid. But early on, we were like in high school. He started going to jail. We started going to would have been the youth, whatever it's called, it would have been Cowlitz County, going to a juvenile center, started going to juvenile center, and then right after high school, right when we graduated, he turned 18 and so forth, and then he ended up going to jail here for a long time and stuff, just on and off, multiple times. And I had the guy live at my house for a while, and it was like, he just had no family structure. He was abused by his older brother sexually and stuff.
Oh, man.
Sure. But this kid if you knew him, you was like, his body was ripped, and you think that he's like, wow, he's doing good. Well, actually, he didn't get fed. He didn't get fed, and he was quite the boxer, though. Oh man, his family made sure that he was in the Kelso boxing. It was like, yeah, it was sad. But he looked like, but it made me think of in the movie, in that movie, who was Channing Tatum was an ass, was kind of an ass, and he was neighborhood ass. There's school, whatever. He was just but there's those kids in life, and they're the ones who, he ends up being one of the saints, oddly enough,
Oh wow.
because he's not going to let his friends down. It's not going to happen. He's not going to, his only friends in the world. He's not going to, something happens to Shia LaBeouf in the movie, and Chaz Palmineri, he says, and that's Chaz is Shia LaBeouf's dad.
Oh
He's
wow.
like, but he's kind of like the neighborhood dad. All the kids want to come talk to him, yada
Oh,
yada,
cool. I
And
can
he says,
relate to that.
yeah. And then Channing Tatum's like, because he's the buff kid, and because he's the one, he's like, he's kind of the shepherd of their friends, and he's like, oh, you have to go and protect my son. He goes, you have to go take care of him, go take care of the bad guy. And he does, just like they did to him. And he ends up going to prison for it,
Oh,
And it's kind of like as much as Shia LaBeouf, who really, he'd left in the movie. He leaves. He goes to California for 20 years. Comes back as Robert Downey Jr. And it's quite the transformation. But he comes back as him, and then it's like he goes and visits his friend in prison.
yeah.
He's in prison. He's in prison for life because of what happened on behalf of him. So it's a good movie. It's just you realize that, yeah, even though this person is the bad guy, he was your saint.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't just use the like Shia LaBeouf and just keep him, age him. Seems weird to bring another actor in. That's
Well, they didn't
bizarre.
really have that at the time. I don't think.
Oh man, I
Just-
saw an episode of like China Beach in '90 that they had the girl 20 years later in a dream or something. They can age them. That's
Yeah.
just weird when a different actor comes in. Now it's a little kid though. It's no big deal. A little kid becomes a grown up.
Well, they're teenagers in the movie. It's just
Oh, so young.
that's what makes
Shia.
it. That's what makes it really that kind of odd.
Yeah,
That
that
makes it
sounds
kind of
like
odd. Other than
probably
that,
why it didn't make it.
yeah, I'd say the movie is good. The concept is great. It's just the fact that when they did this changing of people, they didn't do the best job. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, that Shia LaBeouf though, he's a hell of an actor. He's one of my favorites. He's a little wacky, but that's
Yeah,
what
his structure-
actors are weird usually.
yeah, his structure is just a little different than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, Shia LaBeouf is not as, I mean, he's not fat at all. He's
No.
buffer than heck, but he's got a more prominent build than
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. I think, as far as
Oh,
his
definitely.
his facial structure and stuff. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. If Robert Downey Jr. is watching this, I think you're awesome. I think you're awesome. You're rad. But yeah, it's just a different look. And Eric, although I will tell you, when I do see Eric Roberts in the movie later on, you're going, actually, they kind of do look alike. Him and the buff, what's that guy's name?
Oh, Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I was very surprised. They actually do look similar. You're going, oh well, they do have kind of a similar nose, and the hair, the ears are a little bit similar. So they're not too bad off. But yeah, it's weird because he's totally buff kid, and then you see Eric Roberts, and I'm like, well, you figure he's skinnier. Obviously, he's in prison for the rest of his life, but
Yeah. Well, this is how I remember Eric Roberts. This movie's really good. The Pope of Greenwich Village with him and Mickey Rourke. It's a good one. It's like early or mid 80s.
the Pope of Greenwich Hills. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if I've seen that.
the
I'll have to
Pope of
watch it.
Greenwich. It's pretty famous. It's they took my
Really?
he gets his thumb cut off by the Burt Young, the guy from Rocky, the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who?
he's like, they took my thumb. It's pretty good how they get revenge in the end and take down the mob guy. It's a great move.
Huh? Oh yeah. Actually, no, I'm interested in watching that now because I like that kind of. I like the setting. They have on that one. So yeah, that sounds
This
cool. I
is
like those. I like those guys too. I probably saw it, but
Yeah, it's early Mickey Rourke and early Eric Roberts. It was great. Eric Roberts was kind of the screw up, but he redeemed himself at the end. He took down the mob guy. It was awesome.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think uh, Eric Roberts has always actually been a favorite. Best of the best. Um, Remember that movie, Best of the Best?
Yeah, that was a good one. He was in pretty good shape. He was pretty built.
Yeah, he was. That was a good one. Um, let's see here.
If you ever get to be a mob guy and somebody comes over to hang out and have a meeting with you where you're like laying down the law, don't let your enemy bring you the coffee. That's the lesson we learned there. Eric Roberts was had become the guy's bitch because he had screwed up a lot, and at the end he's like working there at the restaurant for doing whatever he's told, and he's like, "Bring me a coffee," and that's how the movie almost ends. It's pretty good. Well,
Well, I'll tell you.
it's a 40-year-old movie. I think he puts like lye or something in the coffee. Burt Young takes a sip and dies, so it's pretty good.
I'll show you.
But they took Eric Roberts' thumb, so he had to do something.
Well, okay, so this is a guide to recognizing your saints. See him right here? You have
Yeah.
These guys are all of a sudden if I can blow it up a little bit. Let me see if I can blow
Was
it up.
Channing Tatum's acting any good? Because
Yeah, actually I liked it. I liked
Revelation.
it because well, he was a punk kid, you know what I mean?
He acted his way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
That's what somebody said.
People like I said, because he was apropos for the piece.
Yeah.
And oh man, yeah, I don't even tell you. You gotta watch it now because all these guys in the way it's set in the very beginning of the movie. Throughout the movie, they talk now and again. Not very often, but 3 times they come in the movie and they say, "I'm so and so, and I'm a piece of shit." Yada yada. Matter of fact, in the very very beginning, I think that the characters will go. They'll tell you. They'll explain to you who they are, and they'll say, "And I'm gonna die in this movie."
Wow.
And they'll say, "Yeah, I'm Shia LaBeouf, and I'm gonna die in this movie." And I'm Shia LaBeouf, or I'm somebody like that, and everybody in the world's gonna leave me, and I'm like, it's like what? Yeah, it's actually very powerful. It's just a weird way of going about the movies.
Yeah.
Not too many often do they do that in movies, but
yeah. Robert Downey Jr. likes to try different things. He's an interesting guy because he was on Rogan last year and he was talking about now that he's retired from Iron Man, he can do the interesting, fun things, and he doesn't have to worry about money. So that's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure, man. And I've always liked him as far as pretty much just about anything he does. I mean, I can't think of any bad movies in it. And I actually, Chaplin, I thought.
Oh, I love that.
I thought, and this is what, he's probably like 25, but I thought Chaplin was his, he'd never get bigger than that. I thought that was the best performance of anybody. And
yeah,
I thought, wow, that's the last time he's gonna ever do a movie because it's so good. That's the creme de la creme, or whatever you want to say. When somebody does their masterpiece.
Yeah, I
And
think he
then,
got nominated for an Oscar.
yeah, I thought that was great. Well, I didn't really know the story of Chaplin before that, so I had to study a little bit, and I highly enjoyed the studies on Chaplin. He was actually ostracized out of America there for like years, and just because that's the way it was. You know, if you weren't following the American dream in particular, they thought he was the people thought it was he was a communist and yada yada, and not good, you know.
Yeah, he was one of the legends. That Buster Keaton too. If you watch some of his stuff, Jesus, physical comedy at the highest level.
Yeah,
Little more risky. It was like dangerous stuff.
I
Chaplin
was,
wasn't.
yeah.
Chaplin was probably the top guy, but it was like
Yeah, but Buster Keaton, yeah,
Buster
was actually
Keaton.
doing a lot of this. Well, they
Yeah,
both did. They both were phenomenal. Wasn't there three of them? Buster
there was
Keaton,
Harold Lloyd. He did
Harold Lloyd. Yep.
Clock Towers and why? Oh man, they risked. Those
Yeah,
guys risked their
crazy
lives.
stuff, man. It makes me
That's some of the.
wonder. I'm thinking of that right now. The clock tower, Harry Lloyd, right?
Mm,
How in the hell they do that stuff? That's just. And it wasn't even. They didn't have trick photography back then.
no, they had to be clever. It was all thought out. It was.
Yeah, they actually they had the building fall down with them around it, and they
Yeah,
actually did that shit. It wasn't like
yeah.
they were like, oh, let's fake this. No, they stood there and the building fell around them. That's they had to be perfect in what they're doing, you know.
Oh yeah, there was
But
no room for error. It was
no room for error at all. Matter of fact, are you finding some pictures of Harry Lloyd?
oh no, I can though. I think it was Harold Lloyd had a movie called Safety Last. Safety Last. It was hilarious.
I think that was like one of the first ones out there.
Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah, that was awesome. And I think Safety Last might be the one that the house falls around him.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that's all physical comedy because they didn't have words back then. So I think the first talkie was actually. Oh, that's why maybe he was kicked out of America there for a while because that talkie of the of Nazi.
Yeah, I don't know if
What?
he's kicked out or he just went to France or something. I can't remember. He was. I don't know. I remember.
I think he was kicked out of America. He was like exiled.
Really.
Exiled. Yeah, he was exiled out of America for like how many years? 20, 30 years. Yeah, and it was like because he wouldn't follow the guidelines of America, whatever, whoever the president was at the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, pretty interesting. But yeah, let me think here. I've got but Harold Lloyd and Chaplin and
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
actually all of our idols, you know, at the time. You know that they're the idols of Jerry Lewis and everybody else. Let's see what he got
Yeah.
here.
There he
Right
is.
there. See, he's actually hanging on that thing from, you know, that's not photo. I mean, that's not, you know,
That's how to
anybody.
trick. Yeah. Because, like in this, by the 80s and all that, you would see them do it. I saw it at Universal Studios. The guy doing it then was 3 feet above the ground.
Right. Well, that right there isn't trick photography, though. That's actually.
Yeah.
him
No,
doing
this
it.
guy, he's 40 feet. It's like, what?
He's 40 feet up hanging on that thing. What a crazy dude. That's rad, though. I think that I'm sure, I see that now, and I think it's yeah. That thing pops out, boing. Yeah,
Jeez.
that's hilarious. That's funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think those guys are flat friggin' crazy. Although I think, and I hope to God, and I probably didn't do it because he's crazy, but you could get a scaffolding below him and you wouldn't see it in the picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
You know what
not
I mean?
sure how they did it. He seemed like a crazy enough guy that he said, I'm just not going to fall.
I'm just not gonna fall. Yeah, just
Yeah.
watch me dance. Yeah. Especially when they had that house fall around him.
Yeah, that one's scary as
Exactly.
heck. Because if you're 6 inches off to the left, you're going to get hit by the rafters or whatever.
You're dead, yeah. Or if you're not dead, you're definitely a hurting unit. And I
Yeah.
wonder, was that Chaplin or was that safety?
Safety
Not sure.
last was Harold Lloyd. He's
Well,
actually, I think he's underrated because he's
yeah,
done some of the craziest stuff.
yeah. I think they just didn't know how to really. Well, they didn't have anything back in the time. That was the beginning. They did well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, those silent movies were pretty wild, but
Uh,
they were shorter. It'd be hard to watch a 2-hour silent movie. They had a movie a while back, like 2010. Remember, it was called The Artist, and it was a silent movie, and
uh-huh.
it might have won the Oscar, and I thought it was one of the biggest wastes of time I ever spent. We all came out of it like, what the hell did we just waste 2 hours on? But
What was that?
that was about 10 years ago. The Artist.
Oh,
It was a silent movie about a
oh
silent
yeah.
movie star. Yeah, it didn't work for me, but I could see why some people would like it.
Well, I liked it because it was interesting. It was different, but I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
It was no Pope at Greenwich Village, I'll tell you that. That had some acting. That movie was good. Somebody recommended that, and I was like, it sounds pretty weird, and I went and watched it, and it was really good.
Okay, so we have. Let's see here. I'll show you here. I've got. Let's see, Brian. We got this. Got some stupid little ad here. I hate ads. But I want to show you something. I've got this right here. Where are we at here? Where are you at? There you are. Okay, so I have on here. Maybe. Okay, so I have the 6 dangerous stunts of the silent era,
Wow.
which I don't know how I can get rid of this thing here. Dang, how do I blow this up here? Because you don't want to see this crap. I hate. Sorry, folks. I apologize. But
Well, it's kind
maybe.
of disgraceful they exiled Charlie Chaplin. That's just how weird people get.
Yeah. Huh. Well, you know what? Apparently, I just can't. I'm incompetent. It's showing me all kinds of crap here, but not what I want to see. Huh. Okay. I don't want to hop into something where it starts telling me that. But okay.
It's so sad. They just because they thought he was a communist. It's like it's America. If he wants to be a communist, he can do that as long as he doesn't try to overthrow the government.
Yeah. Well, I was finding those pictures of those, but it helped me on a site that says viruses. Had a virus in it, so not to do it. So I didn't do it. I don't need viruses in my computer. It seems like I already have them. Actually, I have my computer traveled down to the whorehouse recently, and not whorehouse, but down to the brothel or somewhere, and that came back as maybe a virus. Apparently, might be the COVID virus though. You never know.
But
Got
Joe,
some.
remember Hunter Biden's? They found his laptop. He's not even sure if it's his, but
Well,
remember
doesn't
that?
Hunt- well, yeah, and it was the guy who was fixing his computer.
Yeah, he says he may have brought it there. He doesn't even remember. Hunter was into the crack cocaine or whatever, so he has no recollection. It's like, did I ever even bring that? He doesn't
Right.
even know. I believe that he doesn't know. He was pretty bad on the drugs. You know, he's cleaned up now, but
Yeah, and like I don't know. Nobody is perfect.
no.
This we know. And
I don't know much
I,
about him, but his dad's not perfect, but I like him. He's doing all right. He doesn't seem senile at all.
yeah, I think so. You're right.
I might be senile. It took me 20 minutes yesterday to realize your dog was coming in a different door. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. I kept working on that door. What's he doing? How's he opening? And then I look over and I go, oh, he's coming in through that side door. Okay. Wow. Yeah, and he does it so nonchalant. Like he's like, "Are you ever gonna figure this out?"
Yeah, that
Gives
was
you that
pretty
look,
funny.
like, yeah,
I'm like, you said you just pushed that door open. I'm like,
yeah.
wow. I'm like,
And it was latched, and I'm like, "How's he doing that?"
I know. I'm like,
Dog's like, "Are you an idiot?" He's looking at me like, "You gonna keep doing this?" He-
well, when he tried to escape, like, I mean, his whole thing was, my dog. So, folks, I have a husky who just when he was younger, I used to call him Houdini because he'd get out of anything. And
yeah,
now as an adult, he doesn't really try to most of the time. However, like over at Brian's house, he likes to go and he likes to just test everything. He's like,
yeah,
there's a hole that he could possibly. He doesn't. It's not like he's being trapped and tortured or something. He just likes to escape. So
yeah.
he likes to
He's
figure out how to get out
resourceful.
of him.
He's like
Yeah.
MacGyver. He's going over there touching nails. Is this thing even hooked in there? And then it pops
Yeah.
off. It's like,
So
yeah,
he
but
likes to figure out ways to get out, and if he didn't, I mean, he's fine. He's perfectly happy where he is. But then he's like, I have to test every wall,
yeah,
every surface, and just look around and see how to get out of this thing, just in case it's a fire. I mean,
yeah,
that's who he is. He's that person at your house. It's like, okay, they come in, and they look at all the exits and stuff, just in case there's a fire.
yeah.
But then the problem is that he actually escapes. He leaves. He's like, oh, so. But yeah, finding Brian adding an addition to his house.
Yeah, now there's a doorway that wasn't there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Once that we figured that out, then he seemed fine. He's like, okay, I'll quit trying now. But I was wondering how long it was going to take. He felt like we weren't getting it.
He's like, dude, you have 2 new doors in this house, and I'm going through both of them before I get to you. You know, I think it's pretty funny stuff.
That was
Actually,
good.
I was like, and we're like, this duh. Like, oh, he's just standing up and opening that door.
Yeah. And then he, after we figured it out, he just relaxed and didn't care anymore.
But he has to let you know that
Oh, yeah.
if he's going to try to get out of these things. And boy, and he ran hell bent for election through that front room. He's like,
But then he stopped. He got on the front yard and stopped and didn't take off. So I was happy about that.
yeah, I appreciate
He's like a
that.
consultant. He reminds me of it. You bring a consultant in, he looks at all your stuff and goes, okay, you're making a mistake here. You got to do this, this, and this.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, I should rent him out for that.
Yeah, he finds weaknesses in your system. I love that. I think I need him to come over today. There's a few issues I want him to work with. Oh,
Yeah, I think.
my cat, though, it was funny. He ran out back, and my cat went up this 10-foot tree in about seriously a quarter of a second. Gone. Yeah.
Brian's like, I thought my cat was fat. And
Yeah.
He's
I
not fat.
think your dog knew he wasn't going to even get close to him, but he had to try.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like he goes to the lake. We go to the lake and the birds and stuff. He doesn't like to. I mean, he would probably, but even when but I wasn't saying is he'll try to scare the birds. Try to go after him. Even though he's not going to catch him, he just likes to do that. But he did. There's a chicken out front here that used to come every morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and walk right in front of my house right here in front of my front yard. And my glass door is fogged, very, very fogged, so you can't see through there. But if you look at through the angles, you can see a little better.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But anyway, so that chicken would come. My neighbor's chicken would come by every morning, just walk in front of my house, like and he knew the dog was there, but he just walk in front of the house like just pissed my dog off, and my dog would be like, yeah, well, you just wait, and I thought for certain, I'm like, I'm not gonna let him out. He's not gonna go out, run after the chicken like that, and well, about a year and a half into it, he I let my dog out about 7 o'clock, and I'll be darned if he didn't come back with a chicken in his mouth and drop it up my feet. Yeah, he just grabbed it and dropped it on my feet. And
oh gosh, how'd the neighbor handle that?
Well, they didn't like it very much, but it was an old chicken, and he didn't kill the chicken. He didn't tear it up or anything like that. He just grabbed it and then bring it to me and dropped it on my feet and
Jeez,
gave a heart attack. So it did.
man.
Chicken was just freaked out. You know, it didn't. I feel bad about it still, but he's an old chicken. And he doesn't all. He'd walk over my front yard every day, and the neighbor.
Yeah.
I asked, you know, I felt really bad about that, but the neighbor was like, "Well, first off, Lonnie, it's a chicken, and he not supposed to be in your front yard. Not supposed to be on your property, really, you know. So your dog was probably doing what he was supposed. He was doing what's right for him. Yeah, you know, it's just that, and animals do that. That's what they do, you know. So they said, well, we're gonna get some new chickens, and I said, let me buy you some chicken or whatever, you know. And they wouldn't let me do it, wouldn't let me pay for it, but they said there was new chickens and they're gonna build a new coop and stuff. He said, if your dog is, they said if your dog gets into the coop, then we'll have an issue, you know.
Yeah.
But and he said this is his property, he should be protecting it and stuff. And you know, so we weren't worried about it. I mean, you know, and they said it was an old, very, very old chicken. So they were, you know, he didn't kill the chicken. He just, like I said, they wouldn't kill the chicken afterwards though, because he definitely had some heart attack of some sort or whatever. You know, he was shocked. He was in shock. The chicken
the cause of death was listed as COVID.
Yes, it was listed as COVID, absolutely. But you know, it happens.
You're kind of in the city, but you're not. It's not real rural, but it's rural urban kind of combo.
Yeah,
you know, it's like a neighborhood.
I absolutely love my neighborhood. Actually,
yeah, it's a great one. To have the chickens there next door, and they have other animals. That's a cool setup they got. It's a cool family deal. 10 kids or something?
Yeah, they have 10 kids next door, and then on the other side of me, they have a big farm type area. And
that guy's always working on it. He's a real nice guy. He comes over and talks about what he's doing. It's cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. And but they've got chickens and they've got ducks and duck eggs. And they have goats. Both of them have goats. And
I had chickens and ducks. Growing up, we had chickens and ducks for a while. Yeah, ducks were. I kind of have a weird memory because I went out and I went to hug this duck and it pecked me like about 8 times.
Sure.
In the face. It was. So I can't even watch an Oregon game. I hate ducks so bad.
Right. Yeah. Well, I remember the Lake Sacagawea, folks. If you Cowlitz County, one of the prettiest things we have here is Lake Sacagawea. But they have a Lions Island, they called it, and there's lions on there. No, actually, there is 2 cement lions actually on it. That's why they call.
Are you talking about the deadly geese that'll
the swan, the geese? Yeah, the geese were just brutal, man.
Yeah,
they were. So you walk out on this island, and if you had to be very, very daring if you walked down to the very end of that thing, because I remember my son getting he was a little kid, and they snapped his little Peter. It was like
you gotta watch. I knew a lady that was like a fearless, tough gal, and I saw her at the lake walking. The geese came up, and she was scared. She was like a child suddenly.
It freaks you out.
Yeah, like she wasn't afraid of anything or anybody, but those things scared the hell out of her. She's like, they got to get rid of those.
Yeah, it freaks you out because definitely it. I mean, if you walk into a bad neighborhood, you'd expect your spidey senses were be a little higher. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're kind of expecting to get shot theoretically. I mean, not expecting to, but you're aware of the danger.
Yeah.
When you're out in nature, you're not aware of the danger, man. Just those swans come out of nowhere, and
the
swans and the geese. There was geese and swans there.
Yeah, they're both scary.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you stay calm, you'll be fine because they've got one move, their head. They can't punch you.
But they are just they're mean, man. and they can go really fast, real quick, and they come at you.
Oh yeah.
They put their head down and charge, and they, start flapping and just fly at you or whatever. Oh, it's pretty. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever been killed by a geese, but
Maybe
I
we
would
should get
definitely.
nets. Throw a net over them. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm not quite certain, but I'm almost certain and there's got to be. I mean, like I said, they got my son one time, and I came after him with it behind him, but it was like they honked this little
Yeah.
man area or
They
whatever it
were
was.
becoming an issue there. I think it was in the paper about the menace of the geese.
Yeah, and I think they actually got rid of those. A lot of them, anyways, the bad ones, unfortunately. But it was a very pretty area. I mean, when they did that.
Yeah. It's still pretty. They just don't have as many animals, but
Any wild animals?
they have
Yeah.
those nutria, those giant nutria that are kind of scary.
Yeah.
I swam in the lake once in 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the 4th of July. About 100 of, probably 50 of his kids went in there. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It
I
was
swam in there. I
stinky.
swam in there probably at least twice.
Yeah, it was very
Three
stinky.
times. 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 times. Thank goodness. I can tell you every time, unfortunately. But yeah, it's I was trying to think here.
I want to look that up and see if there's anything in the paper about it, because it was about 50 to 100 kids ran down that ramp and jumped in 69. So that'd be cool to see if the paper covered it. It was crazy. People were upset.
What were they doing?
Well, I ran. It's a weird story. The outhouses were closed. I was 10 years old. The outhouses were full, and I had to go really bad. So I just sprinted out that walkway. They had a little deck. Sprinted out. Everybody was there. They're having firework type stuff, bands or whatever was playing. I sprinted out and jumped in and took a shit in the lake. That's the only reason I jumped in there.
Hey, there you go. Yeah,
every kid started following me because they didn't know what I was doing. They jumped in too. So everybody just started jumping in. And I'm like,
jumping in your shit.
All because the outhouse was full.
Huh, that's funny.
But I was 10, so
sure.
I'm okay with that. Probably can't.
I was probably, I say, first time I ran, I swam in the lake. I was probably 12 to 7th grade, probably. I took a rubber raft, and a friend of mine and I, we went, and we were so cool because nobody else had ever, well, not ever, but we thought, nobody was, anyways, in our
nobody
time.
Ever did.
Nobody ever took a raft around that lake, so we were like, we're gonna do it. Well, we got out in the middle of that thing, and for some odd reason, it had a hole in the raft. So then we start holding on to paddling on this big rubber weight, and we're just start paddling along. You have to. It was leaking pretty quick. I'm not sure if Wyatt was leaking, if I was fishing in time and put a hole in it, but
yeah,
I don't know. But I just know that it was a pretty good hole. So that was the first time I swam in that lake, being my friend Nate Yanez, if you remember that one. And then also the second time, let me see here. The second time I built they had that riverboat regatta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
a lot of people swam in there during that thing.
Cardboard boat regatta. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cardboard boat regatta. Yeah. So I made the boat. It was huge, and it was actually so secure. I actually floated on that thing, and I slept inside of it for a couple hours, about an hour, taking a nap.
Wow.
But it was so awesome because this houseboat, there was no way for it to sink. However, we took the houseboat, and it was very slow because the boat, we're going around there, because I was in the real estate business, and I had the county assessors actually were on my boat with me, and some politicians as well. It was fun, and we pushed the boat out and around, came back, and when we did, I was in the back of the boat, and I said the way you had to land was you had to go over the wooden dock area. You had to go pick it up out of the water. It was really bad, but I had to stand there. And now I had 2 cell phones. Why? Because I couldn't find my wife to begin with. She was nowhere to be found. But I had 2 cell phones in my pockets. I had two cell phones on me all times back then. I had two cell phones in my wallet, in my pockets. And I was on the boat. I get off, and I'm standing there in about 2 feet of water. And I pick it up, and I went to push the boat out. But what I did, I stepped backwards 1 foot, 8 feet of water.
Wow.
So then I'm swimming in that sucker, and I was so unhappy because
You lost
that's
two
all I needed.
cell phones?
I lost two cell phones
Wow.
instantly.
I remember that.
It was bad. And then and that was the second time that I swam in Lake Sacagawea. And the third one was my darn lovely son. We were playing frisbee, and the frisbee went in the water. No big deal. But for some odd reason, it was just out of reach. Just reach out there and get it, And I'm like hanging on there. I'm like, okay, hang on here. My son was big enough now that he could hold on to me. If I'm like, here, he's like 12 years old. So I'm like, just hold on my hand. And I reach out there, and he pulls his hand back type of thing for whatever reason.
Oh, wow.
I just fell right into the water, and
Yeah.
I had to swim out there and actually got the frisbee. And I was like, you little turkey bird. And because once you're out there, actually, here's how it went. I fell in the water. I got out screaming and cursing and yada yada. And dawns on me that the frisbee's still out there. So then I just dove in. I just dove in, swam out to get it and come back. Because,
That's pretty wild. I haven't seen anybody swim in the lake for a long time, but a few years ago, some guys were doing it just as a dare to each other, which was kind of funny. I got to take a 30-second break. So tell them about this Friday and that we need musicians.
Well, actually, that's true. This Friday at the Friday Night Live, which we're trying to have variety acts of sorts. So if you know of somebody who happens to be a musician or a juggler or a comedian or a person who wants to read a sonnet at publicly, I would love to have you. Let me know. We can definitely make it happen. We can get you on there. At our last event, we actually had over 3,000 views, which is pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool, I think. But we can make it happen for you if you happen to know of anybody who wants to be. I'll make you famous. Kidding. But that's something I used to say all the time. When people would want to get a picture taken with me, I said, I'll make you famous. Kind of funny, but it's kind of true on certain things. A little famous. A little fame in a little area. You never know. Just because that's what we do. I'll make you famous. Right? I'll make you famous.
If you got an act, come on into the studio and get on the stage. It's funny, like when I lived in LA, if we had Friday Night Live, we would have had 300 to 500 people begging to come in and sing, even if they couldn't sing. It was incredible because that's all it was so many actors and singers. But here we have to do like a little more searching.
Well, it's not just the searching; it's we have to figure out how to do it. But the thing is that we've got to get the right people out there. I mean, with this COVID thing, it's very rarely actually ask for help. So I'll do that this morning. Actually, when we get off this thing, I'll work out some help on getting some help. Because
there's still a lot of people that don't even want to go out of their house. Still a few.
Yeah.
We got to work on that. But there's a lot of entertainers, and then it's Friday night, and for some people, like we have TJ wants to do it, but he has to work. So
sure. Well, I gotta. I wonder about Luann. I wonder if they're interested in doing it and all. Huh. I don't know. I'll have to try a little more to do
Bucky,
that.
The guy Bucky would be good, but I want to find the up and coming guys that nobody knows about, or even guys like Eric Nordine, and he's a young guy. Eric Nordine, he played here, and then we had rappers here one night for when.
I threw those away.
What?
I threw those away.
We had some guys doing hip hop, and we had a girl doing hip hop, and it was pretty.
Well,
cool.
I sent invitations to Mark Dykstra last night, and to another person or two last night. So
yeah, I want to find some younger people too. That nothing.
Oh, you saying that Mark Dykstra's not young?
He's what's called. He's non-young. He's He's not
Well,
old.
my thing is basically, I'm trying to,
He's
if
older
they,
than me.
yeah, well, if they want to play though, they're more than welcome, you know.
Yeah.
I can utilize, we can utilize the axe, you know.
I was thinking about like in 1969, a bunch of kids swam in Lake Sacagawea the year before the bridge collapsed. So it was the late 60s were a wild time at the lake. The bridge
Yeah.
collapsed in 68, but I was out of town. I was with my family, and I was bummed out that I missed that.
Mm.
That's like was the biggest thing in lake history, really. The bridge collapsing with people on it.
Yeah, no, it was, and that was actually, my dad was part of that, and he actually got national notoriety on the whole
Nice.
thing. Yeah, he was they were interviewing him the whole time because he was a cop at the time,
Yeah.
he's a fireman. He was a volunteer fireman at the time, and that was kind of like he said that was his 15 minutes of fame, went worldwide.
Yeah.
That he was on the news for going in and rescuing all his kids. I mean, everybody did it, but he was right there on the scene and was
Yeah.
helping for hours all night long. He said they searched for bodies, and you know what? They didn't find one dead body.
Yeah,
Thank
nobody
God.
died. Kids
No,
saved-
nobody died.
a
But
kid
they,
saved the baby. This lady dropped her baby. She dropped the baby, and the kid saved it.
yeah, that was what year was that? 63,
68.
68. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
my brother was in Vietnam, and it came on the radio.
Yep, my dad just
Down
got
in Washington, Longview, Washington. He's like, it blew his mind to be in Vietnam hearing about the lake.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my dad actually had just come back from Vietnam, so there you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was because it was not, I don't think I think I'm not sure what year he came back from Vietnam, but it was
Yeah.
right then because Angie is 69. I guess no, actually I guess I'm wrong because maybe he was over there at 63.
Yeah, he would have been there. Well, I don't even know. Were we even there? And there were some people, but 64 is when really, I guess, got going.
Maybe that's when it. Well, yeah, well, because when he was there, he said it wasn't. He said when he was there, it was a police action, not a
yeah, you're right.
war. No.
Well,
But
it
then
was, they estimated there was like 150 people on the bridge, and I've talked to over 3,000 people who were on that bridge.
yeah, well, I'm sure that it was traumatic, and everybody who was around it was affected, and they probably felt like it was because
yeah.
I couldn't even
Bummer they
imagine.
didn't have film. If they had film on that, because the cracking and all that of the wood.
Yeah, there's actually a picture I saw a couple years back, and we think it's a newspaper article, and we think that it's my dad. We're not sure.
Yeah, that's pretty
but
cool.
he's sitting there with his shorts on. He's got his hand up like this, searching for bodies. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. I mean,
it was just great that nobody died, and it became a local legend to the whole.
Yeah, nobody died. There was plenty of I think not plenty, but I think a lot of broken arms and legs. I mean, a couple broken legs, but a couple arms. I mean, people were injured for sure. You know,
Yeah.
there were injured, a ton of injuries, but thank God nobody died.
Yeah.
And like I said, somebody saved the baby out of the water and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the story that I remember from that time. And then I saw it recently or a while back. The guy that saved the baby I think he was in the Daily News or something, talking
cool.
about that.
Well, they also, I mean, I'm not sure what they can do nowadays differently, but we do know the lake we refer to, folks, is very, very dark, and it's pretty dirty for a lake. I mean, it seems like it anyways, even though we have, it's actually, it's not a stagnant lake, you know, so there is access from the creek or the river to through the lake. It's kind of like it's got a filtering process on it, so it should be cleaner than most lakes, actually.
Yeah, they were just saying it was made of wood, and it just over time it rotted. The bridges they have now look pretty secure. So
yeah, well, the Reynolds aluminum, they our manufacturers here in Dallas. You know, everybody's familiar with aluminum foil and Reynolds aluminum. That was started here in Washington State in
Yeah.
Longview, and they dedicated and made this ginormous bridge on behalf of that collapse. They did that for us, you know.
Yeah.
So they dedicated that to us and donated it. So that's really cool to have that bridge made of aluminum. I think it's fantastic. I can't even imagine what they would at the time. They're like, we're gonna take this aluminum foil and we're gonna make a bridge out of it. And it stood the test of time, you know.
Oh yeah, I saw a video where the guy was doing roofing on a flat roof with aluminum foil. It didn't leak. It was wild.
Well, I suppose it would work, right?
Well, if you do it right, but it's amazing because that stuff's so thin, but it's pretty good.
It is thin, but I think there's different types of thicknesses on those things. I know there is, because you go to the dollar store and you get a sheet of aluminum foil and it's like paper thin, you know.
Yeah, that's what he was using, the kitchen stuff. It was wild. I'm not going to do it because it rains so much here, but it was funny to think that he could do that. He saved a lot of money. But there's a lot of those interesting guys on there that do this real, they try everything. They're very resourceful. It's kind of cool.
So as far as it goes, the roofing you refer to, is that like a thing, or is that just a one-time plug a hole?
He recommended it. He did it a lot. It was he would put it over the tar paper and it wouldn't leak. And this was on a flat roof.
Huh.
Yeah. You go on YouTube though, you can see people have tried everything, which is cool because you want to know what works and what doesn't, you know.
Hey, I just dawned on me, we're actually at 8:07 right now.
Yeah, we're about into it in an hour. I just wanted to show you. You probably know this bridge collapse. This is the most famous, and it's used in commercials and stuff. But it was Tacoma Narrows Bridge.
Yeah,
And,
that was pretty cool.
A guy told me a story yesterday. Said they had paid every month for insurance for this bridge, and then when the bridge collapsed, it turned out the insurance agent had been pocketing the money and just spending it, and so there was no insurance. So I have to look that one up, but that's funny.
Well, that's the one they make the commercials from. Is it Live or Memorex, where it's
Yeah.
That's a really cool visual. It's crazy visual to think of
That's
it.
scary. That's a scary collapse.
Yeah, and that was the Tacoma Narrows, right?
Tacoma Narrows Bridge, and I think that's why we're the Nutty Narrows, based on that. You know, it's a play on words. All right, you're gonna go for 6 in a row.
I'm gonna go 6 in a row, and I think that what are you doing after this?
Well, give me a call and we'll chit chat. I'll just process this.
Okay, shit chat. We'll do that. Ready?
Shit chat. That's a good name. Shit chat. Okay.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Look at you.
Well, you do come in a half second late. We're gonna do some check on your technical skills. I think you're waiting it out, but that's okay. 6 in a row.
That was it.
You should have bet on the fights last night. You're on a roll.
Speaking of which, how was the last one?
It was good, but it wasn't like it was the guy. Robert Whitaker was so good. You watched a guy do it perfectly. Oh, but Jake Paul knocked that guy out in first round.
Oh, that wasn't last. I mean,
that was a separate thing. I had to go and watch that on a replay. But Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation, knocked the world champion wrestler out in a minute and a half.
Huh. Wow.
So the world's really weird right now. People are boxing anybody. So
yeah, well, if you can be on TV, we're gonna box you up and get you out, type of thing. Okay. Well, hey, I'll see you in a bit. Talk to you in a minute.
Yeah, talk to you in a bit.
2 minutes, 2 seconds to make a love connection with you. Not with you, Brian, but with you people. Love you.